My husband and I spent $40,000 finishing my mother-in-law's basement. She's a widow who's still very active, but my husband will inherit her house. She invited us to move in with her if we agreed to renovate the basement, so we did. Now, mother-in-law is acting like bringing our foster child into the home is a major issue, even though we asked. Mother-in-law knew the foster child was moving with us, we finished her space, painted her room, etc. But mother-in-law says she doesn't like foster children, for no reason, no behavioural problems. Mother-in-law refuses to give my daughter and foster child a key. She doesn't want my daughter's boyfriend to visit. She keeps turning off lights while I'm working and bringing people into our space without warning, so her friends have caught me getting out of the shower twice. We've only been here 2 weeks. We had another conversation with mother-in-law about these issues. It turned into a fight, my fault. Mother-in-law said she doesn't want to see her. She said her name is on the title and it wouldn't be too expensive for us to move out. I tried to leave and get a hotel, but my husband took away my phone and keys and repeatedly blocked my exit, but I managed to get away. I went to a neighbour's house and called the police so I could get my phone and key back. Well, apparently he obstructed justice by taking my phone and cancelling my attempts to call 911 through my Google Home device. So yeah, hubby was arrested tonight and I don't know what to do. I'm going to bail him out first thing in the morning. He's completely non-violent with no criminal history or prior arrests, but I'm worried he might divorce me or something. This is entirely non-typical for us. We hardly ever fight and we've never called the police for help. I just got mad that mother-in-law doesn't want our foster child here and I feel like the basement should be our space since we're paying half the mortgage and paid to renovate it. I didn't want my husband to go to jail, he doesn't deserve it, but I accidentally got him arrested anyway. Am I the idiot because I accidentally sent my husband to jail? Paperwork, like yesterday. You need something in hand that you pay mortgage to live there, otherwise don't pay any further, and your husband must have hit his head. Don't bail him out, it's well deserved. You're not the idiot. Your mother-in-law is being unreasonable, and you are right to call the police for your safety. This living situation is toxic. Consider finding a new place to live. Also, I'm fairly sure in most places you're considered a legal tenant, and an attorney sounds good to talk to. She can't kick you out if you've been there long enough and directly contributed money. Why is your husband so comfortable taking away your ability to leave? Why are you so emotionally upset in the moment that the police did that for your safety? They've done that for me before, and they were right. Wouldn't you have been better served using that $40,000 to get your place? Why would you move in with someone who clearly doesn't want you there? Was this your husband's idea? Why did he keep pushing this when his mother clearly hates 3 of the 4 people who moved in? OP, I think the husband and his mom are in cahoots. They got you to spend your money, then get you kicked out. They just both want the foster child out. You and your kids need to leave this idiot family behind. Your mother-in-law is awful. She invited you to live there, let you spend a great deal of money to renovate, and within 2 weeks says she never wanted you there. Your husband had absolutely no right to try to restrain you, to take your phone, and to prevent you from getting help when you felt you needed it. Let him sit in jail. Let him divorce you. You don't need to tolerate his crap. Oh, and one last question. Whose idea truly was it to foster? And in case it wasn't obvious, you are not the idiot. I won't go into my kids and their cousins' achievements. They are many and impressive. I've supported all their interests with time and money. I made a fair bit of money a long time ago and I retired at a very young age. I tried being a trust fund idiot, but I wasn't cut out for it. I worked hard to get my money, but I wasn't raised wealthy. I was just very lucky during the dot-com boom. I have 3 children, 3 nephews and 1 niece. I'm doing my best not to brag about them, but I will say this. They took my money and time and used it to make amazing things happen for them. I celebrate their achievements, both scholastic and athletic. I throw parties for them and give them great presents. My son is jealous because I do not have parties to celebrate his achievements. He's a great kid and quite smart. He isn't a natural athlete, but neither am I by any stretch of the imagination. He does well in school, but I know that I'll be paying out of pocket for him to attend whatever school he gets into. I also host parties for him and his friends. I just don't celebrate him as much. He had complained about this, so last week I asked him what achievement he wanted to celebrate. Believe it or not, his answer was that he'd maxed out his fishing stat in Final Fantasy XIV. I know all those words, I even know that game. What I do not get is how a teen kid thinks it's on the same level as getting scouted for a Division 1 athletic scholarship. I said he could have a party, but that I wasn't sending out invites with that as the reason. He's upset, and my wife thinks I'm being judgmental, which I am. I'm judging him and wondering where the heck I went wrong. Edit, yes, he's on the spectrum. No, I don't think that is worth celebrating. No, I cannot bring myself to celebrate that. But he wanted me to have a celebration because he'd unlocked an achievement in a video game. He's jealous that I threw a party for his sister to get a volleyball scholarship. I might be the idiot for not understanding what a monumental achievement it is to catch virtual fish in a video game. Not the idiot, but I'm concerned that your kid can't think of anything else of value he's done besides gaming. It also seems like your standards are a bit high, and maybe he's given up, so he can't fail you. Is he in therapy already, or is he working with a coach to develop better coping mechanisms than making his game his whole life? Kids on the spectrum need structure. These games are designed to hold their attention and dilute the same dopamine returns that regular day-to-day accomplishments give them. The kid cannot think of any achievements because his father doesn't celebrate any of them. The boy is on the spectrum. With that comes the understanding that his achievements will look different from others. If he were non-verbal, speaking in a full sentence is cause for celebration, for example. It's not something you would celebrate for an NT kid, but accomplishing something that is a challenge for you is worth celebrating. You are the idiot, OP. His achievements look different from the rest of the kids because he's on the spectrum. Posts like these really make me wonder if some internet strangers are cut out to be parents. You are so dismissive of your son. Stop comparing your child to your niece and nephews because every kid is different and unique in their own way. Would you seriously put on an invitation that your kid maxed out fishing on a video game and expect people to come to celebrate in the same way they celebrate a scholarship to a top-tier university? If that is his answer to the question of his achievements, then there might not be much to celebrate. Also, I'm on the spectrum and I have severe ADHD, so I get it. But that doesn't change how the world should reward you. You are held to the same standards, and he needs to learn that now. My daughter and her best friend Will have been friends since they were kindergartners, and I let her sleep over at his house sometimes. They're young teens. Her best friend is a lovely boy and I love their dynamic. I think both are adorable and I don't think I can continue letting her go to his house. This is so insane, but my daughter fell and broke her arm while at their house. Accidents happen, so I would have understood if his mom called me, but she didn't. I learned about it when my daughter came home the next day. She didn't have a phone because hers was broken, and I didn't get around to buying her a new one because we've had a lot of expenses. So I trusted her parents would call me if there was an issue. But no, she spent the night at their house and then walked home with her best friend. So his parents didn't even walk her home while her arm was broken. The most insane part of this is that her mom is a nurse, so there isn't any excuse. I told her that I found it really messed up that she didn't tell me, and it turned into a whole argument. She said my daughter seemed fine and she was playing afterward, and she was too exhausted to take her to the hospital. She said she knew I would make a big deal out of nothing, so she thought it could wait. I'm insulted if I'm honest. I said she was a terrible parent and treated my daughter terribly. She let her walk home alone, well, with a child, but a parent should have been with her, and she should have called me the second my daughter was hurt. She insulted me back and it was a whole mess. I told my daughter and my son that they couldn't go over to that house anymore because that kid's parents were clearly insane. My daughter is especially sad about this because that is her best friend, but it is for the best. I do not feel comfortable leaving them alone together. Those parents are neglectful. Edit, it was obviously and severely broken. She's going to need surgery and a metal bar in her arm and have it cast for months. Even if it wasn't that bad, she knew it was broken and should have called me first. I'm guessing my daughter was in shock, which is why she seemed so fine afterward. Not the idiot. Wow. Honestly, I'd report her to the local board of nursing. I can't even wrap my head around how messed up this is. Don't ever let your child over there again. They're negligent and a danger to your daughter. I wonder if the mom is a drinker or some other user and that's why her judgment sucked. I wouldn't let her over there either. Smells a lot like this. She was high, intoxicated or otherwise compromised and thus lazy and too much trouble to deal with the situation. OP, I'm so sorry this will affect her friendship, but you must know your child will be looked after and that clearly didn't happen here. I feel like nurses are the last people to bring their own kids to the doctors. They seem to shrug a lot off in my experience. 100% you should have been called right away to choose if you wanted to seek medical care for your kiddo, though. She had no right to make that choice for you. I'd be livid too. Hey, I mean, your kid doesn't break their arm every day, right? Breaks can sometimes be dismissed. I've seen people wait a week before finding out their hand or arm was broken. Depending on how it was and your kid's reaction, they may have missed it. A nurse doesn't have X-ray eyes either. Not everyone deals with broken bones. She could be someone in an insurance office for all we know. I asked my ex-wife for a divorce 6 years ago. We just didn't feel comfortable with each other anymore and the divorce was better. We have 2 children in common. She became pregnant by someone else a few months after our divorce was finalized. Unfortunately, the father of my ex-wife's son did not want to take responsibility for the baby. I'll call him Adam. So I've been helping my ex-wife with Adam. Our kids stay with me on the weekend, and I suggested to my ex-wife that she bring Adam on the weekends too, so that Adam wouldn't feel left out. I really don't mind taking care of him. I also pass on extra child support money for Adam. I met my ex-fiancée a year and a half ago and we got engaged 2 months ago. She just doesn't care about my children as she prefers to have children of her own, but she doesn't mind them as long as they stay away from her. Yesterday I invited my children, Adam and my ex-wife to eat, and also my ex-fiancée, but she started making comments like, "Oh, I thought there would only be 5 people. My 2 children, my ex, her and me. That's why it's good to know how to choose a good man to have children with." She even asked Adam how it felt to be just a burden. My ex-wife just went home with the kids, and I started arguing with my ex-fiancée and broke up with her and kicked her out of my house. I told my brother, but he says that in a certain way she's right, and that I don't have to take care of a child that isn't even mine, and that if I continue putting someone else's child before my relationship, I will probably continue to have problems in the future. Am I the idiot for breaking the engagement with my fiancé because of my ex-wife's son? Jesus, no, not the idiot. The problem with your ex-fiancée is she just doesn't care about my children as she prefers to have children of her own, but she didn't mind them as long as they stay away from her. What the heck? Regardless of Adam, if this was her attitude toward your children, you should not be marrying her. You've established a relationship with Adam. He is your children's sibling. It's great that you've done that. You have generously given your ex-wife money for him and helped care for him. No, you didn't have to do all that, but you did. And now you have a bit of a moral obligation to him, given that you've taken on this role. He is your children's sibling and you are a part of his life. That's all great. If that's not okay with any woman, you should not be marrying her, and she should not be around any of the children. The ex-fiancé sounds like a total idiot, frankly. Dodged a bullet? You dodged a damn mortar barrage. Dude, what were you thinking? How could you let a woman like that around your kids? It's okay to want your own kids, but the way she felt about your kids is not okay. What if something happens to your ex and the kids move in full time? You avoided a catastrophe. Choose better next time. My daughter Aria, a young teen, has been best friends with Lila, a female of the same age, since they went to the same preschool together. They're always spending time together and have a bigger group of friends, but they know each other the longest and are the closest to each other. Lila's family situation is a little difficult. Her mom went a little crazy on me last week, which led to a conflict. To sum up the current problem, Lila has a blended family. Her mom, stepdad, step-siblings and half-siblings. Lila has expressed that she doesn't feel close to them. She always emphasizes that she has no real siblings and that even her half-siblings are just half-siblings and they're not her dad's kids either. I've heard her tell Aria how much it bugs her when people say her step and half-siblings are just siblings, but they don't talk about it too often. Lila's mum showed up at my house last week and blamed Aria for Lila's use of the step and half terms. She said she heard the girls talk about it and they say step and half-siblings aren't real siblings. She said she knew that must have come from Aria because she'd been fighting Lila for years to stop saying step and half. I asked her how that even made sense. She told me Aria must be the source, and I told her Lila says that whether Aria is around or not, and she's wrong to blame Aria for how Lila feels. Lila's mother then told me I should be watching over the girls whenever they're in my home or my presence, and correcting Lila whenever she uses step, half, or says they're not her real family. I told Lila's mother she couldn't seriously expect me to listen to them 24/7 so I could correct Lila, and it's too much for her to expect me to do when her kid is over to play with mine. She wasn't happy with me at all. She told me I couldn't say Aria wasn't to blame, and in the same breath, refused to correct Lila when she said something wrong. She told me I just want to let them get away with saying stuff and that I don't do enough for Lila, even though Lila spends more time at my house than she does on her own. In the same breath, Lila's mother said her husband is so sick of Lila refusing to cooperate there and she needs to be here more so I can correct her. I told her she was really expecting too much. She told me I was a witch and a crappy person. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The girl is a teenager. She knows the terminology. Nobody needs to plant seeds in her head when it comes to how she views her family dynamics. Lila's mom is way off base. It's unreasonable to expect you to constantly monitor their conversations and correct Lila's language. Blaming Aria is unfair. Lila's feelings about her family are likely the root cause. Just because Mummy wants to pretend that they are one big happy family, the truth is that the daughter clearly feels differently. More importantly, the daughter is correct in using half and step. Why should she be admonished for speaking the truth? Honestly, if I were the daughter, I'd correct anyone who referred to them as brothers and sisters. I'm glad you provided Lila with a safe space because, sadly, she doesn't have one at home.